The morning sea is wide and open. The waves are soft, the sun is still low, and a small wooden boat shakes gently as it moves away from the Somali coast. Inside the ship are young men, their faces thin, their eyes sharp. They are not rich men. They come from small villages where the land is dry, where animals die from thirst, and where fishing no longer brings enough food. The sea has been their home since they were boys, but today they are not sailing to fish. They are sailing to hunt. They carry old rifles, some even rusted. A few carry rocket launchers, stolen or bought from the black market. Their boat is fast but fragile, the engine coughing smoke. They have no flag, no sign of a country, no name painted on the side. They are ghosts of the ocean, hoping to catch a ship and force it to stop. Some of these men dream of feeding their families. Others dream of wealth and power. But all of them know this sea is dangerous. And yet, they come again and again. One of the men, the youngest, stares at the horizon. His name is Abdi. He is only 19. He remembers the nights when he was hungry, when his mother cried because she could not feed her children. His father was once a fisherman, but foreign ships came with big nets and machines, taking all the fish from Somali waters. Abdi's father's nets came up empty again and again until hope was gone. Abdi chose this path because he felt there was no other way. He whispers a prayer as he grips his rifle, not knowing what waits for him out there. The pirates spot a target. A huge cargo ship moves slowly across the water, stacked high with containers. To the pirates, those containers are not just boxes. They are bags of money, promises of ransom. They start their engine louder, pushing the boat faster. The sea splashes into their faces as they cut across the waves. They are excited, but also afraid. Every raid could be their last. But they do not see the shadow following them. Far behind, hidden by the curve of the sea, there is another ship. It is not a cargo ship. It is a Navy warship, painted gray, heavy and strong, with eyes everywhere. The Navy has been watching, tracking the pirates with machines, with radar, with binoculars. They wait for the right moment, like hunters following prey. The pirates draw closer to the cargo ship. They shout to each other, their voices loud with hope. One man stands ready with a rope to climb the high walls of the ship. Another holds his gun tight, ready to fire if the crew resists. They believe they are close to victory. But then, the sea itself seems to roar. A loud bang splits the air. A warning shot. The pirates stop for a second, shocked. Another bang follows. This time, they see water splashing near their boat. Their eyes widen. This is not the cargo ship firing. It is the warship. Panic spreads. Some pirates scream to turn back. Others shout to go forward. Their voices clash in fear. They have heard the stories. Stories of pirates caught at sea, lined up on the deck, and shot. Stories of men thrown overboard, left to drown, with no court and no trial. Nobody knows if those stories are true, but when the guns fire again, the pirates believe them. The warship appears fully now, fast and powerful. It cuts through the water like a shark. A voice booms through a speaker, calm but firm, ordering the pirates to stop. The pirates look at each other. Their weapons suddenly feel useless. Their small boat, once their hope, feels like a coffin. One pirate, older than the rest, lifts his rifle for a moment, as if he might fight. But his hand shakes, and he knows he will not win. He throws the rifle into the sea. Another follows, dropping his gun, lifting his hands. Soon, all of them are raising their arms. The chase is over. The Navy boards the small boat. The pirates are forced to kneel. Their wrists are tied with rope or metal cuffs. They are searched, their weapons collected. The young pirate, Abdi, feels the cold deck under his knees. He thinks of his mother. He thinks of the stories of men who never came back. Some sailors whisper among themselves. They look at the pirates with hard eyes. These men tried to hijack a ship, maybe even kill its crew. The sailors know their duty, but they also know the anger of the world toward pirates. In the dark corners of the sea, justice is not always written in books. Sometimes it is fast, brutal, and silent. Abdi prays again. The cargo ship sails on, safe. But the pirates are trapped. They are led below deck, into rooms with no windows. They do not know where they are going. Some whisper that they will be taken to a prison in Kenya. Others fear they will never reach land. The sea is full of rumors. Some say pirates are executed quietly, their bodies dropped into the deep ocean. Others say they are carried to foreign courts and left to rot in prison for decades. On the deck of the warship, a young sailor looks down at the captured men. He has heard the same rumors. He wonders which of them is true. Will these pirates live to see another sunrise on land? Or will they vanish, like so many before them? The waves crash against the steel hull. The engines hum. The warship turns, heading toward the horizon, carrying its silent prisoners. Their fate is sealed, but not yet clear. What happens when Somali pirates are caught? The world will argue, stories will grow, but on this ship, only a handful of men know the answer. The pirates sit quietly on the floor of the warship. Their hands are tied, their eyes down. The sound of the sea is gone now, covered by the hum of engines and the voices of sailors. Hours pass. They are given water to drink, bread to eat, but no one tells them where they are going. Some think they will be thrown overboard when night comes. Others believe they will be taken to a prison in Somalia. None of them imagines how far their journey will truly go. When the warship finally docks, it is not in Somalia. It is in another land, a place the pirates have never seen before. The air smells different. The people speak in strange accents. They are taken off the ship, one by one, watched closely by guards with rifles. The pirates feel small, like fish trapped in a net. Buses take them to a holding center. Their names are written down, their photos taken. Some try to lie about their age, saying they are younger, hoping to escape heavy punishment. But the guards only shake their heads. The pirates are placed in small rooms, cold and bare, waiting for something they do not understand, a trial. The news spreads quickly. Somali pirates have been caught. Reporters come, taking pictures and writing stories. Around the world, people argue. Some demand harsh punishment. Some say the pirates should be killed. Others say they should be given fair trials because justice must follow the law, not anger. Days later, the pirates are moved again, this time to a courtroom. It is not like the courts they may have heard of in Somalia. This one is large, with high walls, flags, and men in black robes. The pirates sit behind glass, guarded by soldiers. They cannot understand most of the words spoken. The language is foreign, translated only piece by piece. The judge speaks of crimes against international law, of attacks on the sea, of threats to human life. One pirate, the youngest, Abdi, looks around in fear. He does not know what international law means. He only knows hunger, poverty, and the sea. The judge talks of evidence, weapons found, boats used, and radar records. To the pirates, these are things they cannot deny. They were caught in the act. Their small boat was chasing the cargo ship. Their rifles were real. Their plan was clear. Lawyers stand to speak. Some defend the pirates, saying they are poor men, victims of a broken country. Others demand heavy punishment, warning that piracy is dangerous and must be crushed. The pirates sit in silence, their faces blank, their fates being decided by strangers. In Kenya, some pirates are sentenced to long years in prison. In Seychelles, others hear the same judgment. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. To the pirates, these numbers sound endless. They think of their families far away, of mothers, wives, children. They wonder if they will ever see their homeland again. The punishment is not death, not here. These courts do not execute pirates. Instead, they take away freedom, which, for men of the sea, feels almost the same. Behind bars, the pirates will grow old. Some will die in prison. Some may one day be released. But for now, the heavy doors close behind them, and their world shrinks to iron bars and narrow corridors. The prisons are strange places. Some are on islands, surrounded by blue water. From their windows, pirates can see the ocean, the same ocean that once gave them hope. But now it is only a reminder of what they have lost. Guards watch them day and night. They eat plain food, sleep on hard beds, and follow strict rules. Yet prison is not always what they expect. In some jails, pirates are given books to read, even classes to learn. They can study, learn new languages, or train in simple skills. To some, this feels like kindness. To others, it feels like mockery. They did not risk their lives to sit in a classroom. They wanted money, power, and freedom. Now they have lessons instead of liberty. The outside world forgets them quickly. News moves on. Other ships are attacked. Other pirates rise. The men behind bars become ghosts, remembered only by their families. Letters arrive sometimes, carried slowly across the sea, but visits are rare. The pirates are alone, trapped between the life they chose and the punishment that follows. But not every pirate ends in prison. Some are tried in countries where the laws are harsher. In Yemen, in Iran, in places where death sentences exist, pirates sometimes face execution. Hanging, firing squad, and punishments were carried out quickly. These are not always shown on television, but the stories travel. In Somalia, young men hear of them. Some are scared, others are not. Hunger is stronger than fear. For the pirates in foreign courts, the trial is like a storm they cannot escape. They watch as judges speak, as lawyers argue, as sentences are given. They do not understand everything, but they understand the end. Years lost, freedom gone. Some curse under their breath. Some cry quietly. Some stare with empty eyes. Abdi listens as the translator whispers his sentence. 14 years. He feels the air leave his chest. 14 years is longer than he has lived so far. He thinks of his mother, still waiting in their small village. He thinks of the sea, the only home he knew. And now he thinks of walls, bars, guards, and long days without hope. He lowers his head, not knowing what else to do. The court session ends. The pirates are led away. Reporters write their stories, people read them, and then the world moves on. But for the pirates, time slows. They are no longer hunters of the sea. They are prisoners, marked forever as Somali pirates, far from home, forgotten by most. What happens to Somali pirates after they are caught? Some say they are killed. Some say they vanish at sea. But many are brought to these courts, tried under foreign laws, and punished with long prison terms. The truth is not always as dramatic as the rumors, but it is heavy all the same. For a pirate, there are many ways to die. Prison is just a slower one. The prison doors close with a heavy sound. The Somali pirates step inside, one after another, their chains rattling as they walk. For many of them, this is their first time inside a real prison. The walls are high, the gates are iron, and guards stand everywhere with watchful eyes. The pirates look around, their faces tight with fear and confusion. They have left the sea behind. Now they enter a world of walls and rules. In Seychelles, some pirates are sent to prisons on islands surrounded by bright blue water. They can see the sea from far away, shining under the sun, but they cannot touch it. The ocean that once gave them life now teases them from behind bars. To a pirate, nothing is worse than being so close to freedom and yet so far. The cells are small. Inside, there are metal beds, thin mattresses, and no privacy. Some pirates share a room with strangers. Others stay 2 or 3 together. At night, the air is hot and heavy. Some whisper prayers. Others stare at the ceiling in silence. In the dark, the men think about their villages, their families, the lives they lost. Food is plain and simple: rice, beans, bread, water. Sometimes meat, sometimes vegetables, but never enough. The pirates eat in silence, guarded by men with guns. They miss the taste of fish from home, the smell of their mother's cooking. Here, food is only fuel to survive another day. Life in prison follows a routine. Wake up when the guards shout. Wash quickly in cold water. Stand in line to be counted. Eat. Work. Rest. Be counted again. Sleep. Day after day, The same pattern repeats. Time in prison does not move fast. It moves slowly, painfully, like the drip of water from a broken pipe. Yet prison is not always filled with pain alone. Some jails offer classes. Pirates are told they can study, learn English, read books, and even learn skills like carpentry or farming. At first, many laugh. They think it is useless. But as weeks turn into months, some join the lessons. They learn to read words they never knew before. They begin to write letters home. For the first time, some pirates learn the alphabet, holding pencils instead of rifles. Still, not all pirates change. Some stay angry. They refuse to study. They fight with other prisoners or with guards. They dream only of escaping, though the high walls and locked gates make escape impossible. These men spend their days in anger, blaming the world, blaming fate, blaming anyone but themselves. One young pirate, Abdi, chooses a different path. He remembers his trial, the judge's words, and his sentence of 14 years. At first, he felt hopeless, but in prison, he finds a teacher who shows him how to read. Slowly, letter by letter, he learns. He begins to read stories about the sea, about other lands, about men who changed their lives after mistakes. The books give him a kind of hope, though small and fragile. Some pirates write letters home. They write to mothers, wives, and children. They tell them they are alive, though far away. Sometimes letters return, filled with news of sickness, hunger, or even death. These letters bring tears. A man in prison cannot send food. He cannot help his family. He can only write back words, promises, and apologies. The years pass slowly. A few pirates finish their sentences and are released. But freedom is not what they expect. When they return to Somalia, they are older, weaker, and forgotten. Some villages treat them as failures. Others fear them, calling them criminals. The sea is not the same. International ships patrol harder now. Piracy has fallen. The world has changed while they were locked away. Inside the prisons, some pirates die before their sentences end. Illness, fights, or sadness take them. Funerals are small, held within prison walls. Their bodies are sometimes sent back to Somalia, sometimes buried in foreign soil. For a pirate, even death can be far from home. Rumors still travel among prisoners. They whisper about other pirates who were not so lucky, those who were caught by countries with harsher laws. They speak of executions by firing squad in Yemen, of hangings in Iran, of beheadings under groups like Al-Shabaab. These stories mix with fear and mystery. Some believe them, some do not. But all know that prison, no matter how harsh, is still a better fate than execution. Yet prison brings its own kind of death. It kills slowly, day by day, until men forget the sound of waves, the smell of the sea, the freedom of open skies. For pirates, the sea was everything. In prison, they lose not just their freedom, but also their identity. They are no longer hunters of the ocean. They are numbers, names on a list, bodies locked behind bars. Abdi sits by his window one evening. The sun sets over the ocean, painting the sky with colors. He can see the waves crashing far away. He closes his eyes and imagines himself back in his village, before the hunger, before the guns, before the warship caught him. He dreams of fishing again, of living quietly. But when he opens his eyes, the bars are still there. The dream fades. What is the fate of Somali pirates after capture? For many, it is not death by bullets or drowning at sea. It is years behind bars, forgotten by the world, remembered only in whispers. Some change, some learn, some try to rebuild. Others waste away, bitter and angry. The sea moves on without them, and the world forgets their names. Not every pirate ends up in a foreign prison with books and classrooms. Some are taken to countries where the punishment is much harder. Here, the talk is not about years behind bars. It is about death, execution, the end of a pirate's life. The stories spread quickly among Somali villages and even inside the prisons. Some are true, some are only whispers. Pirates talk of men taken to Yemen, Iran, or even Saudi Arabia. They say trials there are short, and the punishment is death. The methods differ: firing squads, hangings, and sometimes even more brutal ways. These stories float like smoke, impossible to catch fully, but heavy enough to frighten young men. When pirates are captured by navies from Western nations, they know the sentence will be long years in prison. But when they fall into the hands of countries closer to Somalia, they know it might be their last journey. For some, the trial lasts only days. Judges speak quickly, the evidence is simple, and the sentence is final. No long debate, no second chance. Execution is not shown on television. It is not something the world sees every day, but news still travels. Reports of pirates being shot by firing squads in Yemen. Rumors of hangings in Iran. Even quiet stories of pirates disappearing after capture, never to be heard of again. Some say they were killed without trial. Some say they were buried in secret. In Somalia, families wait for news. Sometimes they receive letters. Sometimes they only hear rumors. A mother waits for her son, but he never returns. One day, a traveler brings the story: "Your son was executed in a foreign land." The mother weeps, but there is no body to bury, no grave to visit. The son is gone, lost to the sea of death. For pirates themselves, the shadow of execution hangs heavy. In prison, they speak in whispers. "Did you hear? 10 men were shot in Yemen last month." Some believe, some deny, but all know the risk is real. Every attack on the sea carries two possible endings: a prison cell or an execution ground. To be executed is to face the end without the sea. Pirates are men who live freely, chasing ships, facing storms, and ambling with death every day. But execution takes away even that choice. It is death in chains, death in silence, death far from home. For a pirate, this is the greatest humiliation. The world outside often debates these punishments. Some people say execution is the only way to stop piracy. They argue that fear of death will make young men think twice before picking up a rifle. Others disagree. They say execution does not solve poverty, hunger, or lawlessness in Somalia. Kill one pirate, and another will rise. Only fixing Somalia's problems, they say, will truly end piracy. But debates mean nothing to the pirates who face the rope or the gun. For them, there is only the last walk. Some cry, some pray, some stay silent. In their final moments, they remember the ocean, their families, their villages. Some regret, others curse, but all in the same: a life cut short, a story closed. Abdi hears these stories in prison. He listens to older pirates talk about men they knew, men who were executed. Sometimes he dreams of it. He imagines standing before a wall, soldiers aiming their rifles. He imagines a rope around his neck, the ground dropping away. He wakes up sweating, thankful that his sentence is only prison. Execution haunts him like a ghost, even from far away. Not all executions are official. Some pirates captured at sea are never brought to court. There are stories of navies that once dropped pirates back into the ocean, without trial, without record. Some say they were set free with no fuel, left to drift until death came slowly. Others say they were shot quietly, their bodies sinking into the deep. These stories are never proven, but they remain part of pirate fear. For young men in Somalia, these tales create both fear and courage. Some are scared, choosing not to become pirates. They hear of death, of prisons, of endless years behind bars, and they walk away. Others are stubborn. They believe death is already near in Somalia, where hunger and war rule daily life. To them, dying at sea or by execution is no worse than dying slowly at home. Execution becomes part of the pirate legend. Some call those who died martyrs. Others call them fools. But in the end, each story carries the same message. The pirate life may begin with freedom, but it often ends in chains or blood. The shadow of execution stretches beyond the pirates themselves. It touches their families. A wife who loses her husband to execution is left alone, with children to feed. A mother who loses her son grows old in sorrow. A village that loses many men falls deeper into poverty. The punishment is not only for the pirate. It spreads like ripples in water, touching everyone around him. Yet the world rarely sees this side. To many far away, Somali pirates are only criminals, faceless men with guns. Few think of their families, their hunger, their broken country. Execution seems simple from a distance. Kill the pirates, and the problem is solved. But up close, the story is far more tangled. For pirates, the fear of execution never disappears. It sits in the back of their minds, even when they laugh, even when they plan new raids. They know the risks. They know the sea can betray them, and the law can end them. Yet they go, because the promise of money is strong, stronger than fear, stronger than death. In the end, what happens to Somali pirates after they are captured? Many are tried, many are jailed, but some meet the shadow of execution. Quietly, far from the sea, their lives end in silence. Their names fade, their stories vanish, but their fate remains a warning to others. Abdi, sitting in his prison cell, thinks of this. He feels lucky in a strange way. 14 years is long. 14 years is heavy, but it is still life. It is still breath, time, a chance. Execution is the end. He whispers a prayer for those who faced it, and another prayer for himself, that he may see freedom again, even if old, even if broken. The story of Somali pirates does not end in the courtroom or in the prison yard. It continues in the quiet villages of Somalia, far away from the seas where the men once hunted. Families wait. Wives, mothers, and children look to the horizon, hoping for news, hoping for a return. But many pirates never come back. Some die at sea. Some remain locked in foreign prisons. Some are executed in silence. And some simply vanish, swallowed by the waves or by secrets no one tells. In small Somali villages, life is hard. The land is dry. The animals are thin. Food is never enough. When a man becomes a pirate, it is often to feed his family. But when he is caught or killed, the family suffers even more. A wife is left alone to care for the children. A mother loses her son, her only support. Young boys grow up without fathers, hearing only whispers of the sea. Sometimes letters arrive from faraway prisons. A pirate writes, "I am alive. I am safe. Pray for me." These letters bring tears, both of joy and of sadness. The family knows he lives, but they also know he is far, locked away for many years. Sometimes money comes from charities or from governments, trying to help the families of prisoners. But it is never enough. Hunger does not wait. In other cases, no letters arrive at all. The pirate is gone, executed, or lost at sea. The family does not even have a body to bury. In Somali culture, burial is important. Without it, grief is heavier. A mother prays at night, asking God to forgive her son, though she does not know where he lies. A wife raises her children with only memories. The villages themselves carry scars. Some once grew rich when pirates brought home money from ransoms. Big houses were built, cars bought, food shared. But when piracy began to fall, and when men were taken away, those riches disappeared. Empty houses stand like ghosts. Cars rust. Families fall back into poverty, worse than before. The young men of Somalia watch these stories closely. Some are afraid. They see the prison sentences, the executions, the broken families. They decide not to risk it. They look for other ways to survive, though choices are few. Others, however, still dream of the sea. They say, "Better to die a pirate than to starve at home." Hunger makes men forget fear. The world outside rarely sees this part of the story. To many, Somali pirates are only criminals. They see the guns, the hijackings, the ransoms. They do not see the hungry children, the widows, the villages falling apart. For the pirates, life was never only about greed. It was about survival in a country torn by war and poverty. Over time, piracy changed. International navies patrolled harder. Ships became stronger, faster, and harder to capture. Pirates found it more dangerous to attack. Many gangs fell apart. Some leaders grew rich and moved away. But the young men they once recruited were left behind, in prison or in graves. The dream of easy money ended. The reality of loss remained. Abdi, still in his prison cell, thinks of this often. He writes letters to his mother, though he does not know if they reach her. He dreams of freedom, but he also knows the world outside has changed. If he returns one day, will his village welcome him? Will they see him as a son or as a criminal? He does not know. For now, all he has is hope and the slow passing of days. The forgotten ones are not only the pirates. They are also the families, the children, the mothers who suffer quietly. They live with shame, with grief, with hunger. The world rarely helps them. News reporters leave. Navies sail away. Governments move on. But in the villages, the pain continues. Some former pirates, when released, try to rebuild their lives. They fish again. They farm again. They try to live quietly. Some succeed, though poor. Others fail, unable to escape the name pirate. The label follows them forever, even if they want to change. A man, once a pirate, is always a pirate in the eyes of many. Still, stories of piracy remain part of Somali history. Songs are sung, tales are told. Some tell of brave men who fought against the world. Others tell of foolish men who brought shame and death. The truth is mixed, both pride and sorrow. Piracy gave wealth to some, but destruction to many. In the end, what happens to Somali pirates? Some die at sea, swallowed by waves. Some are caught, judged, and locked in prisons far from home. Some face execution. Their lives ended quickly and quietly. And some return, older and broken, to villages that no longer know them. But many are simply forgotten, lost to time, their names fading like footprints on the shore. The sea remains. It does not care who sails on it. It does not remember the pirates who once chased ships across its waves. The ocean is eternal. The pirates are not. For the world, Somali piracy is a chapter in history. For Somalia, it is a wound still healing. And for the pirates themselves, it is a choice that led them to chains, to graves, or to silence. The story ends not with glory, but with emptiness. The pirates become shadows, and the world sails on without them.